A big misunderstanding. Minister of Health apologized to passengers of the Tokyo-Nur-Sultan flight who have to be quarantined for 2 weeks. Chairperson of the Civil Aviation Committee responded to our correspondents' questions about the resumption of Bek Air service. Abnormally warm with heavy snow. Spring will arrive to Kazakhstan 3 weeks earlier. Stay tuned to find out about the flight preparations in the country. Kazakhstan celebrities read poems of great Abai. Kazakh TV launched the Dala Sozi project. Kazakhstan's Minister of Health, Yelzhan Birtanov, said that it is a big misunderstanding with regards to the issue of flying the 4 Kazakh Diamond Princess cruise ship passengers on the Tokyo-Nur-Sultan commercial flight. All of the passengers, including crew members, were quarantined at a separate place in the capital city for 2 weeks. Yelzhan Birtanov said that the ministry is considering transferring them to home quarantine. There was contact among the passengers in the plane. It is indeed a big misunderstanding. Unfortunately, this situation happens in such conditions. We apologize. We have tested all the passengers and none of them are infected with coronavirus. We are making a decision on what we should do with them. Chairperson of the Civil Aviation Committee, Talgat Lastayev, also commented on the situation. He explained that it was not possible to inform the passengers in advance, as the airline found out about the passengers after the plane took off.
О том, что после рейса необходим карантин, авиакомпании...
Prior to the departure, representatives of the airline have been informed about the necessity of quarantine after the arrival of the flight. The airline was not informed about these passengers. Japan has allowed the transfer of these passengers after quarantine and after the tests. The passengers bought the flight tickets like everyone else.
Карантина после тестирования они приобрели билеты в общеустановленном порядке.
Meanwhile, 15 people in east of the country, including 11 from Kazakhstan and 4 from China, are placed in a special hospital to undergo coronavirus tests. According to the regional health department, none of the people are infected with the virus. All the victims of the Bek Airplane crash were given compensation, said Chairperson of the Civil Aviation Committee, Talgat Lastayev.
Те выплаты, которые были положены пострадавшим со стороны государства, они выплачены.
The state provided compensation to the victims of the plane crash. There were 52 victims who received payments. Insurance payments are also provided. In terms of insurance companies, it depends on the list of documents that has to be fulfilled. The insurance company undertakes to fully pay all the necessary amounts. We are monitoring this issue.
Предоставлению страховая компания обязуется полностью выплатить все необходимые суммы. Мы этот вопрос на контроле держим.
However, Talgat Lastayev has not responded to the question about the resumption of Bek Air. He said that a decision will be made after all of the relevant procedures are carried out.
В настоящее время инспекционная проверка.
Currently, the full inspection of Bek Air is almost completed. There is a report stating that the company has the right to form a corrective action plan based on the established procedures. Thus, if this corrective action plan is satisfactory, the opportunity to eliminate all available comments within 6 months. If this does not happen, the process to withdraw will be introduced. Meanwhile, I want to emphasize that the airline will be suspended over this time.
Хочу подчеркнуть, что на это время, то есть деятельность компании будет приостановлена.
Spring is expected to arrive in Kazakhstan for 2 to 3 weeks earlier this year compared to last year. Corresponding services have been strengthened by the danger of flooding because of the warming weather. Kazakh Deputy Minister of Internal Affairs Yuri Ilyin announced this at a special briefing in the parliament. He also noted that the situation is aggravated in the capital as well as in Akmola, East Kazakhstan, Karaganda, Kostanay, Pavlodar and North Kazakhstan regions. Local executive bodies exported 8.8 million cubic meters of snow. In addition, stocks of inert materials, sandbags and explosives are available. In the event of a flood, 1,000 than 707 evacuation stations have been prepared, routes have been upgraded, and the necessary transport has been allocated. The Deputy Minister also mentioned a list of precautions and necessary measures in case of emergency.
Прогноз, который на сегодняшний день мы имеем, он основан по состоянию на 1 февраля. Исходя из этого прогноза мы определили.
The forecast is compiled based on the data on February 1st. Based on this forecast, we determined the narrowest site that can be a threat to the population. In more than 600 settlements, there is a high risk of emergency due to the spring flood period. A more detailed forecast from Kajidromet will be given by my colleagues on March 1st. We will further work on possible options if the emergency happens in the areas with a lot of snow. We always inform the public about the current situations. We recommend our citizens in the endangered areas to take their important documents and valuables in the case of emergency and evacuation.
Как всегда мы говорим, это вещи первой необходимости. Это свои подтверждающие документы, ценные вещи для того, чтобы на время эвакуироваться в безопасное место.
The United Nations hub in Almaty was created to coordinate the efforts of Central Asian countries and Afghanistan for the implementation of Sustainable Development Goals. This was announced by Foreign Minister of Kazakhstan, Mukhtar Tlyuberdi, at the 43rd session of UN Human Rights Council in Geneva. He said that the project will contribute to the growth of international and regional authority of Kazakhstan. The minister also said that there are other initiatives that are being implemented in the country, which includes the concept of hearing state and tougher penalties for violence against women and children.
Особый интерес делегации, конечно, вызвали проводимые нашим президентом политические реформы.
The political reforms carried out by our president generated a special interest. In my report, I have detailed the changes in our legislation with regards to rallies as well as activities of the National Council of Public Trusts. Implementation of the Jusan and Rusafa humanitarian operations on returning our citizens from Syria and Iraq were of great interest.
Жусан и Русафа по возвращению наших граждан из Сирии и Ирака.
During speech at the conference on disarmament, Mukhtar Tlyuberdi emphasized Kazakhstan's sustained commitment to implement the first president's initiative on achieving a nuclear-free world by 2045. The minister also spoke about the treaty on the prohibition of nuclear weapons ratified by Kazakhstan. He called on the foreign participants to start working on the new agreements in the nuclear disarmament, preventing an arms race in outer space and providing security guarantees to non-nuclear states.
Казахстан всегда занимает очень активную позицию, и все страны всегда с большим вниманием.
Kazakhstan has always been active. All countries always pay great attention to its initiatives. Very important initiatives involve the human rights, the disarmament, and, in total, the agenda of Sustainable Development Goals. We started the activities on achieving the SDGs because 2030 is not that far now. Kazakhstan is actively involved in this as well.
Развитие Казахстана здесь тоже очень активно всегда участвует.
The foreign minister has also met with Director General of the World Trade Organization, Roberto Azevedo. The speakers had a discussion on the preparations planned to the 12th WTO Ministerial Conference in June in Nur-Sultan. The amount of green energy produced in Kazakhstan has increased by almost 80% last year, reaching 2.4 billion kilowatt-hours. Meanwhile, the share of renewable energy sources in the total volume of electricity production amounted to 2.3%. It is planned to be increased to 3% this year. Representatives of the Ministry of Energy said that 18 new renewable energy projects will be launched in the country this year, including 2 large wind power stations with a total capacity of 200 megawatts, which will be located near the capital of Kazakhstan and in Jambil region. In total, this year, nearly $600 million of private investment will be attracted to the renewable energy industry.
Путем реализации проекта возобновляемой энергетики Казахстан может выполнять свои международные обязательства по снижению.
By implementing renewable energy projects, Kazakhstan can fulfill its international commitment to reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. Kazakhstan joined the Paris Climate Agreement. Before that, we were part of the Kyoto Protocol, and accordingly, Kazakhstan is obliged to reduce carbon dioxide and greenhouse gases. Renewable energy facilities at the international level are one of the most effective tools to reduce carbon dioxide. Kazakhstan is up to date, and we are closely monitoring what is being done by our neighbors, particularly Uzbekistan. Our experience is being applied as well.
Очень внимательно отслеживаем что делается у соседей, в частности, допустим, в Узбекистане. Наш опыт также перенимает.
The reconstruction of the largest highway in Tajikistan will be completed soon. The Dushanbe-Bokhtar Highway connects Central Asian countries with China. The highway is one of the busiest in Tajikistan. There are nearly 20,000 vehicles on the road per day. It is a great pleasure to be involved in the establishment of such an important facility. Motorists will be able to appreciate our work soon. The highway will become an express highway after the reconstruction. Road lights will be installed as well as bridges and underground passages for agricultural vehicles and cattle driving. The reconstruction will allow to increase the highway's traffic capacity and improve road safety. Legacy of the great Abai is being studied in the Netherlands. Zifa Alwa, granddaughter of the Kazakh poet Mukhtar Awezov, and her husband Robert Ermers dedicated several years to study the works of Abai Kunan Joly. Currently, the scientists are working on the translation of the words of edification into English and Dutch languages.
Abay'ın еңбектерінде бізге жаңа ұрпақтарға көп кеңес, көп сабақ бар. Бірақ
there are many advices and lessons in Abai's masterpieces for us and future generations. The important thing is that he showcased all of the beauty of Kazakh language. The language of his works is so rich that it seems for me that it is necessary to study Kazakh only to fully understand it.
En aldından meningse Abay'ın жақсы түсіну үшін сол тілді жақсы öğrenүү керек.
Балаусақ көздедің бір кезде, шашында ақ бантик байлаған.
Nathan Visser can perform songs in Kazakh. He lived in Kazakhstan for 10 years and learned the language. In the Kazakh village, he was able to learn a lot about the culture and traditions of the country. Today, he is trying to understand the philosophy of the meaning of the immortal works of Abai in Kazakh language.
Мағына деген Құдай сендер өзіңіздің күш және қабілеттерді қолдана.
Based on my understanding, in Dutch, this word means that if you believe in Allah and use all your capabilities and talents, you can make the stone soft. In order to understand his works thoroughly, I need to read them both in Dutch and Kazakh.
Бірақ қайсы қазақ сөзбен әлі мен өзім білмеймін. Бірақ мен қазір ойлап жатырмын, мысалы өзім бірінші қаланша оқимын, сосын қазақша.
In Kazakhstan, Nathan Visser also met his wife Evelyn, who is a volunteer from the Netherlands. They wed in Kazakhstan and their 3 children were named with Kazakh names, Berik, Ayana and Saule. Abai and Multilingualism Roundtable took place at Radima Belarusian Cultural Center in Nur-Sultan with the support of the Assembly of People of Kazakhstan. The opinion on Abai's contribution, not only to Kazakhs but also to the entire world, was discussed at the event. In addition to famous figures, some of the Belarusians took part in the event. They read excerpts from Abai's works, which were translated into Belarusian. We look up to Abai. We want to show the importance of speaking several languages, in addition to the mother language. I think that everything has just started. This year, I believe that Abai's 175th birth anniversary will be celebrated successfully. Celebrities of Kazakh TV's new project are calling on to Kazakh people to plunge into the world of poetry. Famous actors and singers read excerpts from the masterpieces of the great Abai Kunan Joly and other poets. The project has been created to give a new impetus to the young generation to study and learn the poetic culture.
Өлсем орным қара жер, сыз болмай ма? Өткір тіл бір ұялша қыз болмай ма? Махаббат ғадауатпен майдандасқан, қайран менің жүрегім, мұз болмай ма?
Ғашықтық, құмарлықпен ол екі жол. Құмарлық бір нәпсі үшін болады сол. Сенен артық жан жоқ деп ғашық болдым.
Мен не болсам болайын. Сен аман бол.
Әсемпаз болма әр неге. Өнерпаз болсаң арқалан. Сен де бір кірпіш дүниеге, кетігін тапта бар қалан.